Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah. So welcome to our Celemi Learning Forum series of Celemi, the Power of Learning. This is, of course, in partnership with Performance Development Consultants. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Sandra. I'm the Training Solutions Manager and Operations Head of Quintegral Philippines. Of course, before I proceed and turn you over to our facilitator for today, I know all of you are excited for this Learning Forum series because this is a new way of learning. I would like, first of all, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our country director and sales director for Asia APAC, Ms. Christine Santayana. And of course, our colleagues from Malaysia, Singapore, actually I'm checking the chat box, India, and Japan. And of course, here in the Philippines. Okay, so I think we have a lot of participants coming in, still coming in.
Yep.
They're still counting. Are you ready, Asman?
Yes, ma'am. Anytime.
Okay, so before I proceed, allow me to share my screen first and give you some reminders and of course our agenda for today. Okay, so first of all, we would like to request you to stay focused and of course ask questions. Feel free to ask questions, use the chat box or raise your hands if you want to say anything or give comments. If you may also request you to turn off your gadgets or put it in a silent mode, as this may reduce the bandwidth of your connection, and of course, this will not distract any participants. And your microphones will be on mute, but you may turn it on if you want to share anything or if you want to ask questions. We would also like to request you to please turn on your camera, so at least it's not just our Celemi partner and Quintegral who has the turn on camera. Be honest, as this is a judgment-free zone. Participate fully, and of course, do not forget to have fun. Okay, so for our agenda for today, one of our facilitator will give you some background of the Celemi suite of business simulations. Then we will have the discovery session. We will let you experience one of the business simulations of Celemi. We also have our question and answer at the latter part of this program, but feel free to ask questions during the session. And of course, we have our closing after this, and we will ask you to respond to our evaluation. Okay, so let me introduce one of our facilitators for today, Mr. Asman, as he is the CEO of PDC, or Performance Development Consultant. He is the master trainer, certified coach, consultant, a psychotherapist, and an international speaker. He has been designing and customizing effective training programs, as he is the pioneers and advocate of the concept of emotional intelligence in the workplace in Malaysia since 1995. He has more than 20 years of experience in training, and he is the key person to conduct Celemi's wide range of business simulations or products in the ASEAN region. So Asman will be discussing few of the business simulations of Celemi. But of course, before I turn you over to Asman, I would also like to introduce his co-facilitator, Mr. Wilson Koch, as he is the Celemi certified training consultant, and he has been involved in various aspects of HR consultancy, and he has been delivering multiple business simulations in both Malaysia and other countries. And of course, this is interesting. He was the co-facilitator to back-to-back session of Apples and Oranges and Medici game for the Philippines' largest food and beverage company. So without further ado, I'll turn you over to your facilitator, Mr. Asman and Wilson.
Hello. Hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. Today, basically, for the participants, welcome. And today, Wilson and I, we're going to share with you the simulation of Agile Move. Yeah. But before we get into Agile Move, let me tell you a little bit about the Celemi family, so to speak. Celemi was created, I guess, 40 plus years ago. I want to introduce to you the creator, the co-founder of Celemi. His name is Klaas Milanda. He is still strong and kicking and still designing and putting out more and more simulations. In fact, Agile Move is one of the newest programs or newest simulation that Celemi has produced. Celemi is based out of Malmö in Sweden, and we have also offices in Shanghai and also in the US. Yeah, we represent Celemi in the Asia Pacific in regard to providing some of the simulations for you guys. Yeah, I have to share with you, Klaas is one of the most intelligent persons I have ever met. He started Celemi with the first simulation, which is still going super strong today. The first simulation that he put together was called decision-based. I will go over with you a little bit on decision-based. We have over almost 20 different simulations, so I'm not going to go through all the suites, just a couple before we go to Agile Move. But this is the man who started it all off. He's a brilliant, brilliant person. Today, I'm just going to touch upon a couple. I'm going to share with you a little bit on decision-based. Again, like I said, you know, it's the mother of all simulations. We have looked at so many simulations by so many different companies. You can't come close to it, I'll be honest with you. But this is for a different level. And unfortunately, right now, they have not put it into virtual. But I'll be honest with you, it's going to be very difficult to put this into virtual because it's a very complex, very deep, broad and deep simulation. Apples and oranges is the numero uno top selling in the world. Yeah, and they have a different variety of apples and oranges. We can have apples and oranges for services, apples and oranges for sales, apples and oranges for manufacturing and sales, and so on. Okay, Agile Move, I'll go into that with more detail. And then we have another one called Enterprise. Enterprise is a little bit different from decision-based. Decision-based is more internal operations, strategic internal, and enterprise is more external, looking at your competitor, looking at the market, and so on and so forth. And Tango specifically is for human capital. Do you have the right human capital? Are you training them right? Do you have the right human capital for the right customer segmentation, and so on? Yeah. Let me share with you a little bit more. Can we go? Okay. So, like I said, these are some of the top selling programs. Agile Move, I'm not going to share with you on this slide because on the next slide, we'll talk about that with more detail. So apples and oranges is the numero uno introduction level, I would say, for business acumen and business finance. It's open to all types of business and all types of industries. Yeah, and decision-based, as I said, is more focused on internal operations. Strategically internal operations. We're talking about cash flow and so on. It runs for 2 days. Apples and oranges runs for 1 day. Agile Move runs for half a day. Next, please. Okay, so before we jump into the program, let me give you the breadth and depth, a little bit of what Agile Moves is all about. As I said to you earlier on, it's one of the newest simulations that are put out by Celemi. We have actually no choice at this moment in time. Even before COVID came, people are talking about big data. People are talking about digitalization. People are talking about IR 4.0. People are talking about robotics and so on and so forth. In the past, people say, what's your 2-year plan? What's your 1-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? Now, because of the rapid changes that's going on around us, not by choice, people are asking you, what's your 2-month plan, 5-month plan, and so on and so forth. So the agile way is something that is necessary for all of us today. We talk about the different agile principles, how we do business, how we deal with customers, how we pull our teams together, having the right teams, quick to market, and so on and so forth. So things have changed upside and down. So we have to be very agile. So next slide, please. And we talk about being agile. We're talking about shorter time to market, shorter time, low cost, yeah, and understanding operational perspective and leadership perspective. In this simulation today, we are only going to give you 2 challenges. When we talk about running the real simulation, we look at 2 areas. One, operational perspective. The other one, the leadership perspective. And we'll give you 4 challenges. You will understand what these challenges are when we run it today. But basically, you will be looking at 4 challenges in business perspective and leadership perspective. Yeah. you will be quote unquote the consultant or the senior leader. Okay, next please. So as I said to you, the program, full-fledged program will run for about between 3 to 4 hours. In general, we take about four hours. We have face-to-face and we also have virtual online as we are going to experience today. Yeah. Bottom line, at the end of the program, you will have a better idea of what Agile is, the impact of Agile, and what is the impact if we're not Agile today. Yeah, if we're not Agile today, what can happen to us and so on and so forth. Target groups, as you can see, from managers to marketing people, sales people, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay, so just to share this with you, at the end, the outcome of the simulation, when we run the full-fledged program, it will identify how agile we are. Okay, when we talk about, customer value, doing business, we're not talking about doing the business the good old way. We're talking about agile principles. How do we apply the agile principles when we deal with our customers? And in regard to team satisfaction, super critical, pulling the team together, the right team together, and so on and so forth. And then we talk about speed. Everything is all about speed right now. And also value for the effort. What is the value for the effort? So critical, important, it will all be measured and everyone will have kind of sort of a profile to realize how agile we are. And of course, at the end of the day, we talk about things that you take home with you and what areas that you need to close your gaps and so on and so forth. So kind of sort of in a nutshell, this is what Agile Move is all about. Okay. And basically, this is the last slide that we're sharing with you until we get, Wilson and I will start to share with you the simulation itself. So no two ways about it. We have to embrace an agile mindset. You don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. We got to get there. Okay. Everything is gone digital. Everything is gone virtual. So the sooner, the faster we get there, the better it is. Okay, I know Wilson is in a hurry, so I understand we've got a lot to cover, but one of the things I want to share with you is that it's serious fun. Okay, it is serious fun. Okay, Wilson, over to you, buddy.
Thank you, Encik Azman. So just give me a moment. Let me just share my screen with the link. Here we go. Apologies. Okay, so in the chat box, we will paste the link for you to register for this demo session. So basically, we just type your name. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to put here demo 1. Don't look at this. Okay, but basically, you would create based on an email that you can access back to, and then of course put a password. Luckily, you can't see anything here. And then you click continue, and you come in. All right, so never. And now here you can see my courses is immediately, it will generate it for you. So you can see my courses and then you can see the actual program and then you just click play and then you can start. All right. Now for today, since we're all here together and considering the sheer number of participants who are interested in joining, rather than having everyone click and register the link together at the same time, we're just going to run through it as a whole on my screen, but you can always use this link for yourself and try it for yourself later after this session is over. All right. Now, again, you would see the opening slide. It's exactly the same. Of course, we click continue. And now we come in brief to what is this discovery session. What's the challenge that we're here to actually try to address? Okay, so we'll start with welcome to Ramhome. Ramhome has a long history of producing and selling house alarms, right? So they're in the house alarm market, right? In recent years, the company has expanded its market offer in response to changing market conditions and customer demands for smart homes. Okay, so as part of this transformation, Ramhome is now also delivering solutions for remotely controlling your house. Okay, so they have gone from just simply house alarms, if someone trips a wire and then the alarms go off, to all the way to having a setup where you can actually remotely control your home. So, they are changing with the digital world, right? And so as a result, the company now produces both hardware and software, right? So a project team at REM Home is about to start developing a mobile app. Okay, the app will enable house owners to remotely turn on and off their house alarm. Okay, so, you're busy working, you are outstation, after COVID is no longer such a major thing, you can actually travel, then, you have such a app setup that you can actually remotely turn on and off your house alarm from your phone. Okay, so it will also allow them to activate and steer surveillance cameras. These are features that can be useful when, for example, letting a handyman into the home. All right, so even if you're not at home, you can still open your home for someone else to come in, maybe fix the plumbing, change the lights, do some electrical work, or deliver some, let's say, a sofa, right? Without worrying about not being able to watch what they're doing. Because even if you're at work, take 15 minutes off, watch them come in, steer your cameras, see what they're doing, steer when they go out, lock the doors back. Everything is very much, you don't have to be there, right? So you'll save a lot of your time as well. Now, it's going to be very boring if you just sit here listening to me. So could I have a volunteer who will role play as Mr. Leon?
We want an actor to be Mr. Leon.
Is anyone willing to volunteer him or herself? Doesn't have to, we are very open-minded here. You could be a lady and you can voice Leon. It's fine.
Sure. Hi, this is Hemant here. I would like to nominate myself for doing this.
Sure. Thank you, Hemant. All right. So each time Leon shows up, please speak for him. Huh? Yeah. All right. So this is your first line. Thank you, Mr. Hemant.
This is a very exciting project with up to 1 lakh buyers in the first year.
1 lakh. Okay. 100,000, 1 lakh.
You
must be from India.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hammond. All right. Next, I need a volunteer for Miss Mary. Again, I will not hold it that it must be a woman or a man. Okay, Dr. Sukhmeet. All right, please. Right. You are Miss Mary now.
Okay. Should I read it out?
Yes. Please.
All right. Throughout the development, we will test the app with representatives of our target customers. That feedback will help us prioritize what to do next. After the 4th test, we will launch the first version of the app.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sumit. Okay. So for anyone who has been involved in project planning, this will look very familiar and very simplified. Okay. You have a kickoff. You'll have, after an interval, you have test 1. Next interval, test 2, so on and so forth. You have a final test at test 4, and then you launch. All right, so it's a project. Okay, this is quite, I would say anyone who's been involved in project planning, this is very much understandable. Huh? We are not doing a real project, obviously, but this is a simulation. Okay, so we continue. Now, our assignment, okay, we are here as consultants. Okay, so our task is to act as an advisor to Mary and her development team at REM Home. Okay, they will ask for your advice on how to best deal with various situations. All right, now, of course, as we said today, we are only dealing with 2 challenges, but in the future, when you're actually running the program, there will be a few challenges in a row that we need to deal with. Okay, so the objective is to maximize project performance for the KPIs below. All right, so there are 3 main KPIs. 1, customer value, final customer's perceived value of the solution. All right. Number 2, team satisfaction, engagement and effectiveness of the team. Does the team actually work well together? Okay. And number 3, speed. Okay, we're all here to talk about speed. So how quickly value is delivered to the customers. All right. Now, Dr. Sukhmeet, if you may.
Yes, sure. Great to have you on board. After some tough pitfalls in the previous projects, we now have to be more agile. We need your advice right away to secure the right project team.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, so now we are going to go into our first challenge. Okay, so challenge 1, building the right team. So just a bit before kickoff, as we can see here. So 3 weeks before the project kickoff. Again, Dr. Sukhmeet, you have volunteered for one of the roles with the most lines.
That's fine. Okay. Lana, Timo, Ali, Vera, and I have already been assigned to the new project, but we need some more people to build a competent and high-performing team. Who should we pick?
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sudmi. All right. I need someone else, another volunteer. You're just going to read for this challenge. Don't worry about it. You're not volunteering for lots of lines like Dr. Sudmi has. Anybody, can someone volunteer to help read through A, B, and C here?
Wilson, I can help you. You want me to call names from the participants?
You want to volunteer people instead of volunteering?
Yes, yes. So at least we'll know if they are listening.
Yeah,
Sure.
that will move things a little faster.
Up to you, Sandra.
Let's call one.
I can read this as well if you wish to.
It's okay, Dr. Sumi. I don't want you to read nonstop. I want to give someone else a chance to stretch their vocal muscles.
Yep. So let's call on Mr. Joseph Nebrida.
Hello.
Sir Joseph, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joseph. Thank you for volunteering.
If you would be so kind, can you start with A first?
Yes. So for letter A, well-known colleagues. Pick 2 colleagues who work very well with the other team members in previous projects. They aren't so experienced with apps.
All right. Then
so letter
B.
Option B is experienced overseas colleagues. Pick 2 colleagues who have quite a lot of experience with apps. They're located overseas with an 8-hour time difference.
All right.
And last but not the least is letter C, most experienced colleagues. So pick 4 colleagues who have extensive experience with apps. They're all engaged in other projects and won't be able to dedicate all their time to this one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph.
My pleasure.
All right. Thank you. Now, okay. To be very honest, in a normal session, we will now then split all the participants into their own breakout rooms to then discuss, what choices do we want to make, right? Because this is a competition in the end. All right. You accumulate the value of your choices in terms of KPI. And then at the end of the session, obviously, we'll then be able to see, Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, all the way until 6 groups. We'll be able to see, who has chosen what and who adheres to the concept of agile the best, or at least who now has experienced the most to realize, maybe we're not as agile as we should be. All right. Now, in today's case, we are going to run a poll. All right. Now, but before we actually start the poll, we've seen the challenge. We've seen the possible solutions. Now, no matter what, Miss Mary needs an extra few colleagues to help, right? The team isn't big enough, right? So what do we choose? Do we choose A, 2 colleagues who has previously worked with other team members and they all know each other, they can all work quickly together, but they don't have much experience in this particular field. B, some other colleagues who have experience and they can help, but they are located overseas, right? So like in this case, today we are doing a session here. We're doing it for me. If we are starting at 3:30 in local time for me, but for other colleagues, let's say like Dr. Sudmi, I believe this is right after lunchtime, right? So of course, there's some time gap. In their case, it's literally 8 hours. So this is basically 1 working day's worth of time gap. All right. Or C, we pick 4, right? So 2 for the other 2 options. The last option is 4 colleagues because they can't dedicate all their time, but rather than they're still overall dedicating the same amount of time to the project. It's just that instead of 2 colleagues, you're adding 4. What is your opinion? Anyone have any experience in this kind of field or this kind of project? What do you think about this situation?
You can open your mics and share it with us.
Yeah.
Which do you think is the best solution for you and why? Normally at this time, you'll be broken into your groups and you'll be discussing in your groups. But this time we're opening it up. So it's like in the general room. So you can have your discussion and share us your opinion on which is your answer.
Yep.
Do you want me to help you again, Wilson?
I was about to start volunteering people myself, actually.
So, yes, you may call names.
And actually, I saw someone here with 2 logins. Miss Emily from Compass, is it? Okay, I see a nice picture here. Miss Zoe Jimenez or Jimenez. I believe it's pronounced Jimenez, right? Hi, Miss Zoe.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
It's Jimenez.
Jimenez, huh?
Jimenez.
All right. Miss Zoe, what do you think about this question? Have you got experience in this kind of field?
Well, not really. But if I were to choose an option, I think it would be. Can you go back to the KPIs?
Or KPIs? Okay.
Is it?
I'll just basically state it out. What's the KPIs? Number 1, customer value. Okay, so what does the customer think about what we are making? Number 2, team satisfaction. All right. How happy are the team to work together? And number 3, speed.
Okay.
I think speed is quite straightforward.
Thank you. For me, I think the best option is C. I'm not,
All right.
not completely sure, but since you have 4 colleagues working with you, then maybe you can divide the tasks easier than like so that all the tasks that need to be done can be finished faster, I think.
Okay. So for your perception, it's having 4 colleagues who can do a few more tasks, and obviously they have more experience in these apps.
Yes.
All right. Okay, Miss Zoe, how about this? Why don't you volunteer someone?
That's a good idea.
How about Hemant?
Okay. Clement. Huh?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Mr. Clement. Thank you, Miss Zoe.
Oh,
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Clement.
It's Hemant.
Oh, Hammond.
Hammond.
Oh, Hammond. Oh,
sorry.
it's Hammond again.
Our actor.
Well, okay, Mr. Hammond, what do you think about it first? Why don't we just start from there anyhow?
I still think that this is what I understand is I think well-known colleagues, pick 2 colleagues who worked very well in the other team members in the previous projects. They aren't so experienced.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hammond, you just muted yourself?
I'm saying I would pick option A, pick 2 colleagues who worked very well with other team members in the previous projects where they aren't so experienced with the app.
All right. So you'd rather pick those who have worked well with the team before this, eh?
So you don't think that the lack of experience is going to impact their productivity and speed and so on?
It will, but at the same time, they will also learn something new.
Fair.
Good point.
So
Good point.
employee development, basically.
Yes.
And they also, it says that, of course, experience is one part, but they worked very well with other team members in the previous project. So they have a very good team building skills as well.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, very fair. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Okay, I'll open it to the floor. Does anyone else have any other comments or opinions that they'd like to share about all of this? What in particular you would want to choose for yourself?
I would like to request here to the facilitator
Yes,
that the screen is also viewed on right hand side. There's a black screen. So if you
I'm so
can
sorry.
change the participants there so people can read it out.
Oh, so sorry. No, I was putting out the
No worries.
the
No
video
worries.
the video panel, so I was trying to see.
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that.
No, no worries. No worries.
Thank you. All right. if no one else has any opinion, then all right. Miss Jess, could you please help to share the poll? All right. So normally we do it group by group, and then each group would then make their choice. They would have their own running tally that they would click, but otherwise we would then, of course, during the main room, we'd show what we choose. But everyone else, please click on to which choice you choose. You don't need to follow the leader. I will actually go over what are the other implications of the other choices. But please choose what do you think is the right choice here. And I believe we have about 50 people here, right?
50 plus.
We now have 40 participants.
40 participants, yeah. All right. Oh yeah, subtracting all of us who are from the team.
Probably it's because of the internet connection.
It's okay, because we usually would not run it this way. It's simply for your own experience of how you would have actually done a poll or a discussion about what choices we should take. And usually at the start, people would have a breakout room for about 10 to 15 minutes to actually discuss what they want to choose. Oh, and A and C are neck and neck, literally neck and neck. Does everyone have the option to click on the poll? Please just choose one of the choices. It doesn't matter if you're not sure which one you want to do. Please just choose one of the choices so then we can see, what's the majority's decision.
Still 44% and 44% for A and C.
Yeah, but there's only 16 people who chose, who actually made a choice. Correct. So there's still 24 silent majority who are sitting on their hands. Oh, 50% have. Wow. This is like our election turnout. All right. Share results. I'll just click it here for everyone to see. Only 16 people have actually made a choice. All right. The rest of you who declined to make a choice, up to you. But I would say it's like, government. If you didn't vote, you don't have any say. All right. So anyhow, let's put all of that aside. So the choices were between A and C, but since it's neck and neck, how about this? Miss Sandra, what choice would you make?
Oh, same with him, man, actually.
I'm sorry?
Same with him, man.
Oh, A, yeah? All right, so I'll stop sharing this. I'll close this. Okay, so we choose A, yeah? And of course, you get here, we'll see the outcome. Okay, well-known colleagues. So 2 less experienced colleagues who the team has previously worked very well with were picked. So of course, customer value goes down, right? I think that's very straightforward. We all can see that. But team satisfaction goes up and speed also goes up because they work well together and they pick up together much faster. All right, and then we can see here what happens. Okay, Dr. Sumit, apologies. Could you please read this line as well?
Yeah, sure. Without the right experience, we haven't been able to deliver high enough quality.
All right, thank you very much. Now, just for myself, Timo, as a developer, we have some challenges, but everybody can really focus on the task and the teamwork is great. We are learning more every day. Okay, now, okay, it needed time to load. Sorry about that. Okay, so positives. By allowing the team members to work on only one project at a time, we avoided multitasking. We've also secured a co-located team. Everyone is in the same area. By adding 2 colleagues instead of 4, we created a smaller team. Okay, so this facilitated more efficient teamwork. The negatives were very obvious. The competence of the team was not fully adapted to the needs. Okay, so the 2 added colleagues were not experienced enough. Now, what happens if we had chosen B? All right, we can see customer value goes up, team satisfaction and speed, however, are neutral, no changes. All right, so Mary's time would be saying that the time difference is an advantage. Okay, sorry. Yeah, please, Dr. Sumi.
The time difference is an advantage and a challenge at the same time. Our overseas colleagues can work while we're away, but communication is difficult, both in terms of time and culture.
Yep, thank you very much. And then Timo, our overseas colleagues are very knowledgeable, but it's hard to get in contact with them when needed. And I'm sure everyone can experience this as well, right? Even in even when we're co-located, sometimes people are stuck in meetings and so on. It's not easy to get in touch immediately when it's urgent. All right, what happens if we had chosen C, which was the other popular choice? Okay, customer value shoots up, team satisfaction is neutral, speed, however, actually goes down. Dr. Sumi, if I may.
Our added team members really add a lot of value and help us deliver great quality.
Thank you. All right. From Timo, however, working in the team. However, when they are busy in their other projects, it's hard to get their attention. The rest of us have to wait and adjust a lot to make it work. All right. So you can see from this that actually when we set up Agile Move, there are no perfect answers. All right. It's just like the real world. There are so many things that can happen that you don't have a catch-all solution. It's easy to say you must be more of this, but everything has its own trade-offs. Okay. And this is actually the challenge we then give our participants. All right. Focusing on the KPIs, what should we choose, but also understanding the trade-offs of each choice and how overall do we trend to a better, more agile mindset rather than just the old operational mindset. But yes, there will always be challenges. All right. So in this challenge one, we have focused on 3 particular agile principles. Enabling efficient teamwork, number 1. Having a cross-functional team with the right competence, which we can experience there's some problems here. Keeping teams small and co-located so you can work quicker together, and avoiding multitasking, which I know it's hard to do, but we try to avoid major multitasking, right? Small tasks, try to settle it and move on, but having multiple major tasks at the same time can be very difficult. And now,
in today's environment, we think that, everyone has multiple tasks. And sometimes we feel that we're forced to do multitasking. But in actuality, if you look at the Agile Principles, I don't think we can avoid having multiple tasks, but how do you manage the multitasking, so to speak? Yeah, in Agile Principles, they don't encourage us to do multiple tasks at the same time because the impact in research has indicated that it's not going to contribute well to your end results and so on. But most people talk about, multitasking, we have to do it. So I think we have to relook at that a little bit. And also the other aspects about teams and members of a team, we have to literally spend a lot more time in pulling your team together. You just can't put any team because these are people are available to us. You can't do that, not anymore. You have to have the right competency, the right experience, and so on and so forth. So you need to make an effort to pull the right teams together. And also we're talking about Agile, talk about learning and so on and so forth. In one of the answers, the customer wasn't so pleased when we answer A, when we took answer A, because you have people with less experience, but they tend to have a better cohesion together, but less experience. Customer may not be so pleased with it, but you can see the results were much better because you had the right quote unquote mix of team members and so on, even though the competency is not there yet. And I think Mr. Hammond was saying that there's opportunity to learn. Well, when we talk about Agile, we talk about the current situation, it's about Agile learning. Agile learning will be one of the most important competencies. Trust me on this, guys. Agile learning will be one of the most important competencies for future workers, future employees, and so on. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much, Mr. Azman. Yep. Okay, so that would be challenge 1. Now, obviously, we have more challenges to go along to assist Mary as they put together the actual app. But we are now going to go to challenge 5, the next part of this discovery. And Encik Azman, since you're the CEO, maybe you can read on behalf of the CEO, Mr. Dan.
Sure. All right, I'm Dan, the CEO. The launch of the new app was a success. I've talked to Mary and heard about your contribution. Now, I also would like to get your advice. Our market is changing fast and competitors are close behind. Ramhome announced a new strategy a few weeks ago to adapt to these conditions. The strategy is focusing on how we work with innovation. We will track the success of our strategy in terms of customer value, team satisfaction, speed, and also value for effort. The value that we deliver to our customers in relation to how much effort we invest. Many ideas for new products came up in the past weeks. I need your advice on how to handle these ideas.
Thank you, Mr. Asman. It's one of the longest lines to read.
No worries.
All right. Okay, so now the next challenge is here. Oh, apologies. Let's just recap before we go through the actual challenge. Just now we had three KPIs: customer value, team satisfaction, and then speed. And here, when we deal with the CEO as a much more organizational perspective, we now have a fourth one: value for effort. All right, so it's no longer just enough to talk about achieving one project. It's about how can we lead the company as a whole. So challenge 5 starts with 5 ideas for new products. Okay, early in the morning at HQ. Mr. Azman, one more line here.
Yes, the teams have come up with 5 very interesting ideas for new products inspired by the marketplace buzz. They all may have large business potential.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hammond, you're up again.
So, Leon, the salesperson, I'm only certain that there is a market for one of the product ideas. The value of that market is medium high, but we would probably see the revenues come in relatively quickly. The remaining 4 ideas are based more on intuitions and assumptions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hammond. All right. And again, like before, we have 3 choices. Okay, so what do we recommend to Mr. Dan, the CEO, as the consultant to him, helping him, implement a more agile working environment? A, analyze all the ideas first. All right, so analyze all the product ideas, estimate the required effort, make sales forecasts in dialogue with our customers, then decide how to best spend the resources that we have, since we don't have unlimited resources after all. B, take small steps with all. Spend some time on developing each of the 5 product ideas into something hands-on to try out with customers. But you have nothing fixed that for sure it will work out. And C, go for the known market, as Mr. Hammond has stated. Focus on the product idea with the known market, the one. So after launching of that first version, evaluate the remaining product ideas. So strike while the iron is hot, basically. A, B, C. All right. I think at this point, you guys understand the concept of what we would look at. So let's not waste too much time on this. Let's just run the poll. Please let me know, what choice should I choose? Miss Jess, could we have the second poll out?
And guys, try to go ahead and pick a choice.
Yeah.
Try to pick a choice.
No need to follow the leader. Choose what you want to choose. 15 have made a choice. Anyone else wish to make a choice? All right. We'll stop it here. Since just now we're 16, now we have 15 choices. I guess that's roughly consistent. So we'll end the poll here. All right. So these are the results. All right. 8 chose A. Okay. 2 chose B and 5 chose C. Okay. So I follow the majority choice, as I said before. So let's go for A. Okay. Analyze all ideas first. And here's the outcome. Now, don't forget, our KPIs are 4. Right? We talk about customer value, we talk about team satisfaction, we talk about speed, and we talk about value for effort. Now, when we analyze all the ideas, this one we'll get to in a moment. Team satisfaction is neutral. The boss said something, you just do it, give it, you see what happens. Speed obviously is slower because we're spending a lot of time analyzing before we make a choice. And D, value for effort, is also low because we spend a lot of effort and maybe we will get something. All right. So down here, may I ask Miss Sandra to speak on behalf of Sandra?
Sandra Coster. It was hard for me to give meaningful input since I did not really know what solutions they intended to offer.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Okay, Mr. Azman?
Yes, okay. Our customers asked us to clarify the benefits of our solutions, but it was difficult as we couldn't show them anything concrete. The analysis was too hypothetical. Looking back, I'm not sure it was worth the effort.
Thank you very much. All right, so we can see here by choosing A, the positives, of course, is because we didn't start all the initiatives, we have less work in progress. We don't have projects left hanging. However, the negatives are the analysis is time consuming and we don't get much value from it. So we don't get a high value for effort. All right. So next time, rather than forecasting and analyzing, perhaps you can quickly qualify and act on opportunities here and now. So let teams experiment, develop something hands-on, and speed up feedback from our customers. So the second most popular choice just now was C. So let's take a look at that result there. If it was C, we see that customer value is neutral, team satisfaction is neutral, speed and value for effort, however, are high. Dr. Sukneet, if I may ask you to once more step into the fray.
Yeah. I think it was good to start by focusing on the idea with the most certain market. On the other hand, maybe some of the other 4 ideas would have an even higher potential.
Thank you, Dr. Sukneet. All right,
it was good that we focus our efforts. Sometimes we have just too many things going on in parallel, and we never seem to finish any of them.
Thank you very much. So here again, we have reduced work in progress because we're not doing too many things. However, negatively, we did not let teams experiment and innovate on all of the ideas. And short term, we are betting only on one horse, and we may have lost out on some of the other opportunities. All right, so trying to act on opportunities here and now, recognize the value of failure. Okay.
Yeah.
The earlier we fail, the less we would continue in it and recognizing that value. So we can always work on it. Yep.
If I may add about recognize the value of failure, I think in general, especially, I may be wrong, but in the Asian culture, the fear of failure is so high. And there is a tendency for us not to allow or not to experiment and so on. But to be honest with you, when we talk about Agile principles, one of the major Agile principles is to give your team the ability to experiment, come up with something new and something different, and for us to value failures, contain that failures. You as leaders and so on, learn to contain that failure so it's not going to impact the company and so bad and so on and so forth. But the idea here is to experiment, to give the opportunities to experiment.
If you don't try something new, you always do the same old thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and so the Agile principles that we touch on primarily in Challenge 5 is quickly qualify and act on opportunities here and now, and as Mr. Azman said, recognizing the value of failure. All right, and then Mr. Azman, one last round.
The last weeks have been intense with some new challenges requiring agile leadership skills. I think we have done okay, and we we keep learning and improving as we go. Let me share our development with you.
All right. And now at the very end, we would show an overall graph of how we have done. All right. Now, this will always be dependent on the actual choices of each team, but we will have a running scorecard, and we actually have a separate Excel file that we would do as a tabulation. Each team, what did you choose? We'll key it in there, and then we can show this at the very end of the program so they can see, what are they thinking about and how they are thinking.
It gives you a pictorial, it gives you an awareness of your choices. I think that's important in the learning process. As Wilson and I said before, you'll be put into your groups. Yeah, so each one of these represents one particular group. Each graph, each group will have your own graph.
Yep.
Yeah, and see how you did in which KPIs and so on.
Yep, that's right. Okay, we're coming to the end of this, but one last round. Can we ask Dr. Suknit and Mr. Hammond later?
Sure. We've been exploring the unknown, and our teams have been much more agile. Working close to our customers has been the key to our success. We've also realized the importance of a good workflow and have found ways to make our teamwork more efficient. Your advice in this process has been very valuable.
Thank you very much.
The market interest for our solutions is huge, indicating that we are at the forefront. We expect sales to increase rapidly in the coming year. Getting there has been frustrating at times. However, we have managed to come together as an organization, and we are continuously learning and improving.
Thank you so much, both of you. All right. And basically, this will be the very end of the program. And we will go over the Agile principle, the Agile profile, operational perspective, as well as the leadership perspective on both sides here. Okay. So of course, we will touch on the main Agile principles we had talked about operationally, right? Working as a team on a project in and of itself. And then also in terms of leadership, what's the structure and how do they think? And now we do actually also note here, okay, when conditions are known and predictable, let's do this, right? Analyze forecasts, stick to the plan, define work processes, focus on how. When things are set in stone, then it's good to follow the actual rails that we have. However, when conditions are unclear, like, to be honest, we are working from home now in Malaysia because it's out of control outside. There are a lot of things that we then need to make and do differently. Talking about dates, about time, getting online, right? If we were still doing all trainings face-to-face, this doesn't work any longer, right? How can we function in a much more agile way, all right? Of course, at the very end here, we can restart the simulation or exit it, but this is actually simply a graph for you to see how your team has actually been thinking and maybe what are the areas that maybe you want to change. All right. Now, obviously, there are some things you don't want to change. Maybe you're in a very regulated industry. You can't just simply change your work processes. That's entirely fair. On the other hand, there are some other things that maybe like stick to the plan, right? Now, if the plan is no longer working and things outside have changed too far for it to continue working, then maybe we have to reconsider and adapt to those changing conditions. All right. So that is Agile Move in very brief terms. Okay. It's slightly more than half an hour and we are a little bit past 4:30, but that is how this program would work. If you have any questions, I believe this is now the time for Q&A.
Maybe I just want to share one or two things, Wilson.
Yes, Jasmine.
So, of course, guys, when we play the simulation as per normal, right? So it'll take about 3 to 4 hours, and you'll get a lot of value in the group discussions, right? Because you'll see from different perspectives of each other and so on. And I think that's where you get most of the value from. And then what Wilson was doing when he was choosing and picking the answers, you guys will choose and pick your answers, and then I'll go, of course, to explain to you in regard to how you did, in regard to the answer you chose with the arrows and so on and so forth. And then obviously we'll come back to the main group and the facilitator will share that with you. And then of course, there's usually a lot of interaction. We have to keep the interactions kind of sort of controlled and managed because a lot of people are coming up with a different perspective, different views. I think A is better, B is better, and all that sort of stuff. So it makes it a lot more engaging and a lot more interesting. And we normally don't use the poll for this, but we use the poll for so that we make it a little bit quicker and easier for us to run the simulations. So, and also at the end, as Wilson has shared with you, it gives you a profile of your team decisions. And actually, if it was, we ran it for your organization, let's say we can have an open program, or we can have a program specific for your organization, then you can have a takeaway, and you can look at your areas where you need to improve, or in regard to your agility and so on. Over here, it shows you 1, 2, 3, 4 different aspects of it, and quote unquote, how agile. This is the operational profile. So the most agile perspective of your operation is work close with the customer. You did well, little short of say 75%. Enable efficiency teamwork, slightly above 50%. And smooth workflow, we got to sort that out. Not doing good. And your best performer is learn and improve together. So that's your best performer. It does help and assist each organization to see where and what we need to work on first. Because there's no doubt whatsoever, guys, agility is the way to go from this point on. It's no two ways about it. So this gives you a good insight of your organization and the people and how they think in regard to agility. Back to you, Wilson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azman.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Ms. Sandra, I believe this is now time for Q&A.
Yep. So anyone, if you have any questions, you may turn on your microphone or feel free to use the chat box.
Yeah, hi, this is Hemant here.
Hi, Mr. Hemant. Yep.
Firstly, thank you very much for this session. And I believe more or less most of the things are being covered in terms of the better understanding how learning can be made more experiential and fun due to this simulation. The last page, what is currently displayed is more about the individual participant. That is my question in terms of if you go a little up, if you can scroll up.
Okay. Mr. Hemant,
work close to the customer, the icons. Is this the result or the output for that specific individual who has appeared for the simulation workshop?
Okay, it is actually based on the decisions made by the group. So I would say that let's say we have 20 participants who all came, all right, and let's say we have 5 groups, so groups of 5 groups of 4. Now, obviously, what I would show on the main screen is basically what everyone's input has been. Okay, and this is the you would say the compilation of decisions and what results from that. Now, for an individual themselves, if they created their own link and they were clicking through it, obviously they could click their own decisions. All right, and then they can see for themselves what would be their own personal profile. Right. Usually, however, we would ask people to follow group by group first.
Okay.
Because group by group, then you can see, sometimes it's also even just a matter of how well can we persuade others to understand, what is required in this day and age. All right. So it can also help different people to see their own shortcomings. Perhaps they have a very agile perspective. Perhaps that is true. However, if you cannot convince others to adapt as well, then you have some issues there to work on.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So that is that the agile profile itself is basically just based on the decisions that you get clicked on. Right. But that would then help each team to understand, where they actually stand as a whole.
Sure. Thank you.
No problem.
Any more questions from the participants? Okay, so while we're waiting for the other questions, I would like to promote also to let you know that we will be having an open enrollment of the Agile Move, the Celemi Agile Move on September 28th. That's 1 o'clock up to 5 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon, Manila time.
Or +8 GMT for those like me who had to go and check Google for the time.
Yes.
Guys, could we have you guys open your videos? Maybe we can see hi, hello, and stuff like that. Could you guys open your videos?
Thank you, Mr. Reza. Thank you, Dr. Sukmit.
Thank you.
May we invite everyone to please turn on your video?
Yes.
So if you have any more questions, probably you may send us an email at solution@quintegral.com, and then we will respond through email. Again, I would like to invite you to our open enrollment program of Agile, Celemi Agile Move on September 28th, 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. Manila time. And if I may just flash my screen again, and I would like to invite you to please respond to our evaluation. Kindly scan our QR code and give us your feedback.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Asman and Wilson and the rest of the team of PDC.